Hi there, this is Solituron from Solituron Films, and welcome to another boutique label battle where I justify double dipping on Blu-ray releases under the guise of a public service, just to let you know which release has which supplement. Today I'm going to talk about Richard Lester's wonderful anti-war film, as he used to call it. How I Won the War from 1967, starring Michael Crawford, John Lennon and Roy Kinnear and Jack McGowan and Michael Hordern. And today we're going to talk about the BFI release and the Kino Lorber release. Now the Kino Lorber Region A, along with the Scream Factory edition of Nightbreed and The Exorcist 3. I think the Kino Lorber edition of How I Won the War was the main reason I got a multi-region Blu-ray player, because at that point the film was not on Blu-ray. It was a film that's been in my life for over 30 years. And it is my favourite Richard Lester. It's just absolutely wonderful. Granted, on first viewing, there's so much going on. There's so many gags. There's quite a lot of characters speak really quickly, especially Jack McGowan character. It's sometimes hard to catch everything on the first viewing, but it stands up so well on multiple viewings. Little details, like the officers trading essentially like baseball cards of wars, and that's the next section that we're going to go to in the film. It's little details like that. Obviously it's a satire of the stupidity of war. I mean, Michael Crawford is a completely incompetent officer who is tasked with going behind enemy lines with his unit to build a cricket pitch to boost morale. It's completely insane. Obviously John Lennon gives a career best performance as Gripweed, who's always got wet feet. There's a wonderful character who's always quick to tell people that he dies in North Africa. There's fourth wall breaking. It's just so good. So really the Kino version was one of the reasons that I got a multi-region player, so I could actually pick up. Now, as we know, Kino Lorber can be pretty hit or miss on supplements. First of all, the picture in both Blu-rays is fantastic, because one of the things historically with How I Won the War is it was very dark print, certainly on the DVD. It was always kind of murky, and you couldn't really see, especially in the night scenes, you couldn't actually really see what was going on. Whereas the Blu-rays have really cleaned it up, and the film looks the best it's ever looked, until it gets a 16K release or whatever. But unfortunately, this is one of the releases by Kino, which is somewhat lacking. But again, the most important thing is the film. Obviously, this is just a silly little way to justify my double dipping. So the Kino only has the trailer from Hell with Alan Arkush on the knack and how to get it, and the trailers from Hell on the bed sitting room with John Landis, and it has a Richard Lester trailer gallery, because Finders Keepers, his underrated 1984 comedy, is on Kino Lorber as well, because I also have that. As is Juggernaut, his really underrated bomb on a cruise liner film. which is ridiculously star-studded, which all of his films seem to throughout his filmography, he managed to get ridiculous casts. So we'll move to the BFI edition, which is Blu-ray and DVD, and it has a nice booklet as well. Now this, to me, is obviously the film is what's the most important thing, but both of these releases for me kind of missed the boat a little bit. So I'll explain. So the special features in the BFI, you have Animated Genesis from 1952, which is 22 minutes, and A Short Vision from 1956, which is 7 minutes. And these are anti-war animations, which again goes with the themes of the film, but in actual fact have nothing to do with the film or Richard Lester. We have Head Rag Hop from 1970, which is 3 minutes, which is a bold jazz soundtrack pop art attraction, or abstraction even, again of the time, but nothing to do with the film. Then we have Plod from 1971, which is 21 minutes, which is I cannot speak English today. The long thought Lost, an absurdist anti-authoritarian fusion of poetry and pop music, was shot in the streets of Liverpool and stars sound satirist The Scaffold. Again, obviously Richard Lester made those films with the Beatles, who are from Liverpool, so that's a tenuous link, but again, nothing really to do with the film. And you have the 2 trailers from Hell, which are on the Kino release. And the only 2 items that are actually to do with the film is Richard Lester in conversation with Steven Soderbergh from 1999, which is 88 minutes, which is really fantastic because Lester talks about his career. And the other thing, which is pretty great as well, it's a commentary with a commentary by Richard Lester authority Neil Sinyard, who of course appears on quite a lot of extras, especially for Eureka and especially on Billy Wilder. But he gives an excellent commentary on How I Won the War. So these 2 releases for me are a perfect example of, obviously, the film is the most important thing, especially a film that on previous DVD or VHS releases was really dark and you couldn't really appreciate how the film actually looks. But the extras, there could have been a little bit more. I mean, we could have had, I'm sure Kim Newman could have talked about How I Won the War, or Matthew Sweet in its relation to British films of the 1960s. But having the interview with Steven Soderbergh and the commentary by Neil Sinyard is very good. So, I mean, obviously, with these 2, the BFI is the better release, but there's also some stuff that personally I'm never going to watch again. But it does have Lester talking to Soderbergh and obviously the commentary by Sinyard. So certainly in this one, the BFI wins over the Kino release, but the Kino release has a soft spot for me because it was the first time I'd actually seen How I Won the War in high definition, glorious high definition. And it's an absolutely wonderful film. It's one of my favourite films of all time. And it's right at the top of Richard Lester's filmography for me. Obviously, different people have different opinions on what their favourite or what the best Richard Lester film is. And that's the beauty of cinema. So thanks very much for watching as I justify double dipping, and hopefully you'll join me again for more boutique label battles. This is Solitude Ronin from Solitude Ronin Films. Hopefully I won't be dying in North Africa, saying farewell